Hey everybody, welcome to Ron Line Report. I'm Ron Harris and you're watching the Ron Harris Muscle channel. If you're not already a member, please do what it says on the ticker. Subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it, share it, ring that bell, do all that great stuff. So today we're here to talk about the Classic Physique Olympia. Even though 2025 seems very far away, as an older guy I can tell you, time goes by pretty darn quickly. So what did we see? Chris Bumstead, 29 years old, wins his sixth consecutive Olympia title and retires on stage at the very top of his game with his health, with all kinds of business opportunities, millions and millions of fans, tens of millions of fans all over the world. Storybook ending to a fantastic career, and he's getting out while he's still young. Got his whole life ahead of him. But this begs the question, who's going to be next? Because this title, he's had a lock on it for a long time now. 6 years is a long time in any of these divisions. And the other guys, I'm sure a lot of them, deep down in their hearts, they felt like we don't have a chance until he's gone. And I've said that many times. I said Chris Bumstead will win this until he's tired of winning it. And I believe that's what happened. He felt he had accomplished everything he wanted to accomplish, been to the top of the mountain 6 times. Now, not only is he leaving it open for someone else, he is contributing his own money, personal money, to the prize package next year. So these guys get paid more money because obviously we know Open got a tremendous boost, $600,000 for first prize. It might even go to $750,000 or $1 million next year. Who knows? We have no idea. But in the meantime, Chris is going to do his part for the division that has treated him so well, then that he definitely helped to grow and make popular. So now we start looking for replacements, other champion. Logically, it would probably be one of these two guys, right? Second and third place. Both German guys, ironically enough, or oddly enough, or coincidentally enough. This is Mike Sommerfeld on the left and Urs Kalecinski, the Miracle Bear, on the right. Both gave a tremendous performance this year. But let's take a look at these guys individually. These two and some other front runners who all have a very strong chance of winning next year now. So first up, Mike Sommerfeld did a huge improvement, massive leapfrog up from previous showings. I honestly believe he beat Bumstead in a couple of poses this year. He pushed him. He pushed him hard. Chris has never really been pushed as hard, I don't believe, as he was this year. So Mike, just a beautiful shape and structure, plenty of mass. Conditioning has always been on point. One thing you'll notice, he's got very, very wide lats, a tremendous V-taper. Wide lats, a narrow waist, excellent quads with a great sweep. I agree with what Tyler Mannion said. I think the front and double bicep, you could have arguably given those poses to Mike over Chris Bumstead. And that's saying something because Chris rarely gets beaten in any poses, especially now that he's brought his arms and his back up. This guy is very, very complete. He's very thick. What does he still need? Maybe a little bit more upper chest, maybe a touch more arms. I don't know. His arms look pretty damn fantastic in a lot of the poses that I see. He doesn't really need to do much. I mean, this year, the only man that beat him was Chris Bumstead. So the future is very bright for Mike, and his chances of moving on, getting that Classic Physique Olympia title are very, very good for next year, for 2025. As long as he can just stay healthy, stay injury-free. Posing is very masterful. Yeah, I found this guy to be the surprise of the show, the pleasant surprise of the show, much the way that Martin Fitzwater was the surprise of the Open Mr. Olympia this year. Someone that not everyone expected to do as well and push the top guys as hard as he did. Mike Sommerfeld certainly proved himself a very, very worthy contender for the Classic Physique Olympia title, and he could very well get it next year. He's right there on the cusp, clearly. Only one guy beat him, and that guy's gone now. But let's not forget, fellow German, Urs Kalecinski, the Miracle Bear. Urs has also been improving. He came on the pro scene very young. I believe he's only 25 or 26 now. Always known for his presentation. Definitely one of the most entertaining posers in the game. That's why he's won Best Poser at several major competitions. Legs are fantastic. Great overall shape and structure. Of course, you know, the critiques I'm going to come at, being a guy with arms that were never great myself, it seems hypocritical, but he needs better arms. I believe if he's going to take this title, they've been improving. They still could be better, and I believe he can get them to grow better. Back thickness has come up tremendously. He could use a little bit more of that, but it's a beautiful physique, guys. This has been, I believe this was his third or fourth. I should have looked it up. He's had a lock on the top 3 for a very long time. Top guy. He's won a few shows. And I do think it's within his reach, certainly within his reach. If you're third place at any of these Olympia divisions, particularly if you're in the top 3 on multiple occasions, as Urs has been, you certainly have the capability to be number 1. Urs has that. Don't know if he's at the limit. I know he's much closer to the weight cap now. I don't think he needs much overall mass. I think he's got a great classic look just the way he is. Again, just a little bit more arms would serve his physique so much better. A little bit more back thickness. You'll see the conditioning from the back, always on point. Yeah, his back has come up tremendously. I was there when he made his pro debut. Actually, it wasn't his pro debut, but when he won the Tampa Pro a few years back, I think he was only 22 years old at the time. Super impressed. He continues to impress. That's Urs Kalecinski. Next up, guy who's been runner-up a couple times, all the way from Brazil, Ramon Queroz, or is that Ramon Rocha Queroz is his name. Everybody calls him Ramon Dino. Ramon Dino out of Brazil. Been runner-up twice at the Olympia. He's an Arnold Classic champion. Certainly one of the greatest classic physiques on this planet. What did he do wrong this year to drop down to 4th? I honestly believe his presentation played a huge role in it. His posing has not really improved much. It's still awkward. It's still amateurish. I wish he would find a really good posing coach and just knuckle down and work with that person. I know some of you don't even see what I'm talking about, but some of you do. It's kind of awkward, and he was sweating up a storm during the judging. The sweat was running off of him. It looked like someone who hadn't really done much posing practice. And at this level, you should be they're training for hours a day between the weights and the cardio. Just like in the old days, Arnold said they used to pose for an hour to 2 hours every day. That's what it takes to be a master at it. And posing is what separates these guys, because sometimes the physiques are so close, it comes down to who's displaying their physique better, not necessarily who has a better physique, because if you have a great physique and you're displaying it incorrectly, no one's ever going to see it for what it's worth. Back thickness is something he can continue to work on. He's got crazy arms, shoulders. Obviously, this guy has got one of the greatest physiques in the world. He wouldn't be at the level he's at. And I'm not giving up on him, and I'm sure his fans aren't giving up on him. He's still 4th place in the world. It's a little drop down from 2nd place, but hey, give this guy his props. He's amazing, and he could still win this Olympia title. Now, we turn to the only former champ who's still competing, 2-time Classic Physique Olympia champion, Brion Ansley, who is 44 years old, and in a couple weeks, on November 7th, I believe, he will turn 45. Typically, that's an age when most guys, you'll see their physique has started to really go downhill. You'll see loss in the legs. You'll see the midsection getting thicker. It's harder for them to get the conditioning down. They might have some loose skin. Brion has none of that. His body still looks fresh, still looks amazing. He's got some crazy body parts. His biceps are among the best in the entire sport. Legs are down just a touch from what they used to be. They're still really good. What does he need to do to get the title back? And I don't think it's impossible to get the title back. Think about this, guys. This was the lowest he has ever placed. 5th place is the lowest, and he has competed in every single Classic Physique Olympia since that started. In 2016, the very first one, won by Danny Hester, he was 4th place. Next year, he won it. The year after that, 2018, he won it again. 2019, he was runner-up to Chris Bumstead in Chris's first win. 2020, he was still 3rd. 2021, 3rd again. 2022, 4th. 23, 4th. And this year, his lowest ever, 5th place. So this is a guy who was in the top 4 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years in a row, 8 years in a row, and just finally slipped down 1. I don't know what he can really do to move up and get past these guys. It's only a couple guys. Maybe a little bit more legs if he can get the legs back up to where they used to be. Conditioning is really good. Maybe take that up a notch. It's a damn near perfect physique. It's really hard to find fault with Brion Ansley, the Black Swan. like him a lot as a person, and I'm always rooting for the underdog. And as one of the older guys up there, of course, I'm going to root for that too. So good luck, Brion. I know you're not done yet. So that takes us to someone who was literally half his age. Brion, 44. This gentleman here is 22 years old. We're talking about Jose Manuel Munoz, Josema, they call him, from Spain. Just a youngster, a whippersnapper, as we used to say back in the day. Jose looks tremendous, beautiful shape, symmetry, proportions, conditioning, as you'll see, is perfect. What does he need? Just a little bit more size. And at 22 years old, I have no doubt in my mind, size is coming for him. He's definitely going to be better as he fills out and gets bigger. His shape is only going to be more pronounced. You can see the arms need a little bit more, the quad sweep. Tyler Mannion pointed out the abs could be a little thicker. But you know what? He's got all the tools he needs. There are things you can't change. Your structure, your shape, things like that. Those are there from day one or they're not, and he's got them. So Jose, 22 years old. I don't think he's going to win it next year or even the year after, but this is a division that's still growing in popularity all the time. He's a very young rising star. Give this kid a couple of years, and I think he's going to be pushing for that title, maybe even winning that title. So I'm skipping down to Wesley. Even though he placed 8th this year, it was kind of a drop down from the Arnolds that he won earlier in the season. And a lot of us expected, including me, Wesley to push for the title. He would be the one to be standing next to Bumstead, giving him a run for the money, beating him in some poses maybe. Who knows? We had high hopes for Wesley. And I don't want to say he didn't deliver because he certainly brought the best package he could. I think he was just a little over-dieted, stayed too lean for too long. I know I'm not his coach, so I'm just speaking purely out of conjecture here. What does he need? I mean, obviously we know he just needs more leg mass, thigh sweep would go a long way toward boosting his placings at the Olympia level, where so far he's been unable to crack the top 5. I do not for 1 minute believe that he's incapable of winning this title eventually. It might take a year or two. He's still getting better. He's not that old. He's still in his early 30s. He's a very serious, driven young man, good head on his shoulders. Now, the question is, can someone with those quads, can he really improve the sweep, which is kind of a genetic thing, the shape? Mass-wise, can he improve it? I believe the answer to both questions is yes. I believe he'll figure out what needs to be done. He'll make those improvements, and we will see Wesley back better next season. And I do anticipate him being higher up in the Olympia next year. And again, I do not rule out Wesley Vissers being a future Olympia champion. We've all seen people make tremendous leaps in 1 year. So to say he can't win it next year, I wouldn't say that. Last but certainly not least, the guy who we missed in the show this year, but he was runner-up second place on 2 different occasions. I'm talking about Terence Ruffin. Terence made his Olympia debut back in 2018 with 8th. 2020 and 2021, he was runner-up to Chris Bumstead. Slipped just a tiny bit. 2022, 6th place. 2023, 5th. He took off this year. He was opening up a gym, and they had just moved up the weight cap toward the end of the season, last season for Classic. And Terrence is definitely going to take full advantage of that. He was never at the full weight limit anyway, and that's all I really felt he needed was a little bit overall mass. Probably particularly if I had to be nitpicky in the arms. Arms could definitely come up. They were a little better. This is 2022 Arnold Classic we're looking at. 2023 when he won the Dubai Pro, they were a little better. Hopefully he's had time, a good off season, and he's made those improvements because look at the shape, the symmetry, the proportions. And we already know when it comes to posing and presentation, Rough Diesel is among the very best that's ever done it. And we're talking about any division, classic, open bodybuilding, anything. He gives you chills when you watch these routines. He's one of the few guys that people can actually quote routines. Like, do you remember his routine to Survivor? Do you remember his routine to this or that? They actually remember certain routines, which is very, very rare these days for any division. So Terrence, man, former U.S. Air Force veteran, and definitely somebody who could come back in 2025. Just needs to get his qualification, and he could be a very, very strong contender. Anybody who's been runner-up, and especially runner-up twice, he was runner-up to only one guy, Chris Bumstead. He could very feasibly come back and win the title because, again, Chris is gone. The title is up for grabs. All these guys have a chance now, all the top guys. It could be somebody we're not even thinking about. You know, these are just a few very, very likely suspects, but the classic physique division is growing all the time. New talent is coming out of nowhere that we've never heard of. People that have been around for a little while, they make improvements and make drastic leaps up, as we saw this year with Mike Sommerfeld, as we saw with Jose Manuel Munoz. It's a division that you can't turn your back on it for a minute because it's always evolving, changing, improving. So very, very exciting, even though we're still a year away, but just the prospect of a brand new champion in classic physique. We all loved Chris Bumstead. He helped grow the division tremendously. So popular, what I call a crossover star, because he brought a lot of people to our sport, to follow our sport through his social media, through his Instagram, through his YouTube. People that really had no interest in the competitive side of it, they started following it. So congratulations, and thank you so much, Chris Bumstead, for all you did for the sport, for the division, and just for being a great all-around guy. But next year, guys, the title is wide open. And leave me a comment here. Who do you think is going to take it? Who are your top 3 guys, if you don't know who it's going to be for sure? Give me your theories as to who could win next year and why. I'm curious to see what you guys think. So that's it, guys. Appreciate you watching. Again, please subscribe, like, share, do all that great stuff. I'll see you right here next time.